Living for a living, baby. How you doing?
Yeah, I kind of assumed there's not a lot of like long-haired older Finnish dudes.
No.
And so as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, this dude I want to talk to. This is going to be a good conversation for sure. And so I'm happy to be here. How long have you guys been in this building?
Well, we started from here, so
Okay.
March 2017 we came here and we started to brew April, and then first products came out 1st of May 2017.
Oh, so it's still relatively new.
Yeah, it's just about like 4 years plus, so it's fresh, like you can see.
Yeah. And so you've always been in this building, and what was like the evolution? Did you guys start with one beer?
Three. Yeah, we like the name is rock, paper, scissors.
Okay.
So we had like rock beer, paper beer, and the scissors beer in the beginning, and we actually were thinking that we were quite smart in the start, because we in the studies they say that like most people when they start to play rock, paper, scissors, the easiest hand is to pick the rock, because
Okay.
you don't have to like do anything, you just keep your hand in a fist. So we thought that like, okay, our rock should be the easiest one, so we made it the lager.
Okay.
And then we thought that like, okay, the paper, it should be a little bit stronger but like not too strong so it beats rock, and so forth. And we made a red ale with rye, and then we thought that like, okay, so the scissors needs to be the most like it should have the most flavor and everything. So we made a IPA, so that would beat the paper. But when you have had the scissors, you need to take something easier. So you go back to the rock. So that was our thinking, and we thought that we are really smart with that. But then when the fourth beer came out, we were like, holy crap, like what do we do now? And luckily we then got friends with the Fat Lizard guys, and so we made the lizard, like from the, what's the TV series in English, the sitcom, where you have the nerds and
Big Bang Theory?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So they had the, like, because the game was too easy for them, so they came up with two other hand marks, like lizard and then the Spock. So we made the lizard, and we were still like, okay, we dodged that bullet. But the fifth beer, we then had to come up with something different. So we decided at that point, and okay, rock is a category. It's easy to drink, like a lager kind of beer or whatever. But that didn't work out. So we gave up on the whole idea of using rock, paper, scissors as a sort of beer types in a way. But
where did rock, paper, scissors start? Like, whose idea was it? Out of this idea of the three different beers, or was there a different? Did the three different beers come because of the name, or did the name come because of the three beers?
Yeah, this is a long story, but
okay.
I still tell it. But so me and Janne, like one of the founders, we go way back. Like we've been friends for pretty much like 25 years now. And back in 1997, we started a bar here in Kuopio called Tähti. And it was Janne, me, my brother, and then a fourth guy, like an older guy who sort of built it. And back then, like, even though it was a like extremely successful bar, we had nights when we didn't have that much people in. So we decided that who can go to the other side of the bar desk to sort of start drinking. So always how we did it was playing rock, paper, scissors. And also we like used it as a problem solving method for other problems also. So it has been sticking with us throughout the whole 25-30 years now. And we have, like, back in the days when I lived in Helsinki area and my brother lived there, and we didn't see that much, but whenever we saw, like once a year or like once for 2 years, whenever we saw, like, we always at some point we played that game, like who gets the next drinks or whatever. And so that has been stuck with us throughout the whole friendship. And then 2016, when we first sort of decided that we are going to make this brewery happen, And then we started to think about the name, and we used ad agencies and our friends, and then we came up with our own ones, and blah blah blah. It was a long process, but it was September when me, Janne, and Aki were driving to Helsinki. We were about to fly to Scotland to visit the Brewdog Brewery to see how they are doing things. And Janne was sitting on the back seat of the car, and he was being really silent, and like me and Aki thought that like he's pissed off about something that we couldn't say like what, because we thought that we haven't said or done anything. But then Janne suddenly said that, Samuli, how have we always solved our problems? And I was thinking that like, shit, we have a problem. And then,
here we go.
Yeah. And then he said that like, rock, paper, scissors. That's the name of our brewery. Rock, paper, scissors. And I was like thinking for a millisecond, and it's awesome. Like, but it has to be used somewhere in the world. Like, it's such a good name.
Totally. And they play it everywhere in the world they play it.
Because we had two rules, like when we sort of thought about the name. Like, one was that like we don't want to do any translations like afterwards. So it was supposed to be directly like something national, and so English is the most used language for that. And the other one was that like it would be great that if people would associate like somehow with something bigger and like general. So both of those things happened there, and so then we went to Scotland, and we basically just Googled the whole trip, like what could we do with the rock paper scissors. Of course, first we Googled that is there a brewery called that, and there wasn't, and so we were really excited. And on that trip we came up with the idea of two things. First, that we are gonna make the 3 different beers that are called rock paper scissors, and the other what we use still at this point is that inside the cork we have like a random symbol of either rock or paper or scissors. So when you go to a bar, let's say you and me go to a bar and we buy our beers, we can ask the bartender to open the bottles and put the corks on the table, and we can sort of see directly who pays. And in the best situation is that like we tie, so we have to take another one and another one, and like at one point like somebody has to pay. But that's the story.
Damn, that is a good. I was real curious, and then it also just the acronym of RPS is super smooth, and so I was thinking this whole time, I was like, there has to be something good behind it. And so when you play rock paper scissors, because it's such an international game, and everywhere I've been, some people go like rock paper scissors shoot and then do it, or some people go 1 2 rock paper on the third. How do you play?
We played on this is basically, we went 2018, we went to London to play in the European Championships of rock paper scissors. So I'm a
market research is what that was.
I'm a really like athlete. I've played in the European Championships level. So we went there, and we sort of before that we also played it like it's 1 2 and show.
Okay, like
that's how we played, and actually that was how they played in the European Championship. Okay. So we were happy to see that like we have been playing it all the time in the right way.
Good to know.
I don't know how the World Championships go, because we actually contacted there's an organization that did organize the World Championships in Las Vegas, but the last one was like 10 plus years ago.
Okay.
So we contacted that organization and asked that could we have the rights for the World Championships like for the next 3 years, and after some negotiations we got it, and our plan was to sort of
like as the sponsor kind of rights, you mean, or what do you mean by
like the actual rights to organize it? So okay. And we got it, and back then we are still actually exporting to Hong Kong and Macau. And we went to Macau then, and we talked with one of the biggest casino groups there. And we said that like, if you guys want, we can bring the 3rd year competition here in Macau, but you have to promise that you will give 1 million for the winner. And they like not even blinking the eye, they said, of course, yeah.
So where were you playing? Or first, how did you guys do in the European? How when you guys went to
Well,
London?
that went really bad for me, at least. Like I lost in the first round.
Okay.
But then
Is it best of 3 or how does it?
Yeah, I
work,
think
or?
it was best out of 3. And
Okay.
then they had the lucky losers group there.
Okay.
So I went to the organizers and like cried there and like said I came all the way from Finland. Like I need to be in the lucky loser group. And like after some crying and weeping, they took me for the lucky losers
Okay.
round. And then even then I lost on the first round. And
Damn.
both times I was playing against a girl. So looks like the girls are better players than men, because actually the finals, when they played it, the actual finals, the last 2 ones were both girls there. So
Really?
yeah.
When you play, are you have your mind made up? Are you trying to play mind games, or what's your strategy in playing?
I don't know if I can share it because it's a winning strategy.
It sounds like not.
Yeah, but after that, after that European Championship, yeah, I'm just like I think it's pretty much like a confident game. So
Yeah.
you need to like be there and trash talk and sort of win the game before it's even played. So that's what I try to do. I just play mind games and said I know what you're gonna do. And,
That's good.
and if I don't know, like it doesn't matter. But if I do, they always think like, man, he can read my mind.
He knows, yeah. You're either gonna lose or then look good. You know, either way, you kind of win-win. For the World Championship, were you guys gonna have it here, or where was the plan to?
Yeah, it was first, like we had a 3-year plan that like the first year was supposed to be here in Finland, in Helsinki.
Okay.
We actually, for the European Championships, we did with the raha-automaattiyhdistys, like it's a operator that handles all the coin games in the like shops and the bars, and then they have
the gambling thing
yeah,
that
and
the
then they have
old
the
ladies are always on.
yeah,
Okay.
and then they operate the casino in Helsinki and all those places. So we had a tour. We went to, I think it was Lahti, Jyväskylä, Oulu, Turku, Tampere, and then the finals were in Helsinki Casino. And the winner of that tour came with us to the European Championships. So we agreed with the Casino Helsinki that the first year we will organize the World Championships in Helsinki. And then the next year we were planning to do something really crazy, like something that hasn't been done anywhere like in the world. So, and also keeping in mind that we are going to fly then to the Hong Kong next year. So the only sort of idea that we came up with was that like, okay, let's connect Finnair and organize the second year in a way that the finals are played in Finnair plane, like just going around somewhere
In the air.
in the air. But we never got to that point because the whole COVID thing and all that. But that was the idea that like we will partner up with Finnair and like just flying around like 4 to 6 hours somewhere in the world and play the rock paper scissors in the air.
And then you come back to wherever, or
Like coming back to Helsinki where we started, like with the champion, and then the third year was supposed to be in Macau in the Galaxy Group Casino, but we never really got like started because the whole COVID thing came up and all that. So, well, now if the world opens, we need to contact the World Organization again and see if we
So
are
it's still a thought. It's still,
can
there's
we
kind
still
of
have the rights and
possibility. Okay.
could we do the whole thing again? But let's see.
Dude, that's quite an interesting marketing thought, but I guess I'm not really surprised because the thing that I've been most impressed or like noticing right away from your guys' stuff, well, I found out about you guys right when I got here as I play for the Steelers, and you got the Steelers lager and the long drink, and so I was over at my coach's house and he's like, hey, check this out.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy shit, you know, a Steelers, American football, European beer and long, like that baffled my mind as I've played all over the Europe so far, and nowhere else has a beer after them.
Yeah.
But the thing I noticed was all of the like logos and cans and all of those things are unique and colorful, and like they stand out in the store and how I see them. And so, like, what's your thought process in designing that? And like, how do you come up with that?
Well, when we started, we like used a ad agency, and there's this guy called Juho Ojala, and he's like really talented guy. He does all kind of artwork and whatnot, and so we started out with him, and he designed all the early logos, and pretty much all our sort of graphic logos are from his hands.
Okay.
And he and Janne used to work as a sort of pair, like Juho was drawing and Janne was sitting behind him and checking out and giving comments and all that.
Yanni was the guy I met last week.
He usually sits there. And so we did that with Juho for like the first 2 years or so, and then we started to do like basically our own. So Janne is doing those these days, but actually at the moment we are looking to sort of because we have so many graphic elements, like we have the hands, then we have the logos, we have at least 3 different kind of logos, we have the heart of the northern peripheria, and like we have plenty of like logos, and so we have been like sort of putting them all to the can, so it's sort of a series of logos now, but we are now trying to sort of simplify in a way our packaging. So we now are trying to figure out like what are the most like powerful and most RPS logos that we want to use in the future, and this will come to daylight in the like next year, early next year. We will release our new packaging, and also because when we started with the beers, it was easy, but now we have the long drinks and we have the hard seltzers and we have the sodas. And
I was going to say, how many different now beers and drinks and everything? Because you get the little sampler pack, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I think we have so like much.
25 different drinks at the moment. So, and there are 4 different types. So we have the sodas, long drinks, hard seltzers, and the beers. So during this whole process, like, we have never really stopped to think like how should the long drinks look like, how should the hard seltzers look like, and still be sort of recognized as a RPS drink. So that is also like that's the main reason why we are doing this exercise now, that we will try to get them in a line in a way that like the hard seltzers these days, they all look pretty much the same, like they are white cans and like really simplified and all that. So, and our hard
seltzers, are those the newest, the hard seltzers, or what's the newest of the 4?
Well, both sodas and hard seltzers came last spring. So when the whole Corona thing started, like we saw that like at that point 60% of our sales came from restaurants, and we saw that like in one night we just lost 60% of our sales. So we started to think that like we need to do different kind of drinks that we can sell in the stores and so forth, but there's no point of doing yet another beer because it's basically just eating from some other beer that we are doing. So we decided that let's do more long drinks, more hard seltzers, more sodas, that those are the fields that we are not competing at the moment, and that was the reasoning. So, and because this all happened in like few weeks, so we never got the time to really think about like how this should look and all that, so we just put something out. But now we see that we need to be more in line with the sort of a general market, but still be like sort of a recognizable RPS.
Yeah, man, that is some fast acting then.
It was crazy weeks. Like,
I mean, one of my planned questions was like, how's COVID affected you and this and that. I mean, shit, like just to have to say, well, lost 60%. Now let's come up with 2 new categories that you hadn't done up until then. And then, so what was the timeline of, oh shit, to something was in the store?
Well, it was at the end, I think Well, it was March. Was it like 10th or 12th or something when the announcement came that like we are closing now the Finland
Yeah,
and
right.
all that. And I remember sending to our WhatsApp group that like, okay, tomorrow morning everybody to the brewery. We need to figure out like what the fuck. And
bat signal out. Like we have a problem.
yeah, absolutely. And basically, we came up to the conclusion that we have two choices. Like we can either like all just go home and not raise salaries and just hope that this will go away, or then we will make this kind of a sprint where we try to come up with the new products and all that. And of course, people wanted to do the latter. So from that March, whatever date it was, I think it was early May when we released our first like sodas or hard seltzers. I can't remember which came first, but it was like every week we came up with the new product. Like, okay, now we have two different kind of hard seltzers. Like we started out with 2 sodas and then added 2 more later on. And so it was from the product development side of things, it was the craziest 6 to 8 weeks that we have ever seen. And clearly we don't want to go back to that anymore because it was we just put out stuff out and like we never really sort of stopped to think about like whether this makes sense or not.
In a way, don't you think there's kind of like an advantage, I feel like, in that, like to a certain degree, because I know myself, I'm a super big planner and thinker and make everything right.
Yeah.
And then at certain times it's like, fuck it, we just got to take that first step. And now, I mean, as you're saying, you get to go back, but I'm almost envious in a way of just like, there's no choice. Like, we got to just do it. And
yeah, that was the thing. Like, of course, you would always like to do like a plan carefully and maybe do some studies, like whether this is a good idea or not. But back then, like going back now, year and a half, like it was such a crazy time that I can't even remember that much about that time because like it was just like, okay, we need to do something.
No, that time seems to me like 7 years ago in a certain way. I was in that March of 2020 time, I was living in Barcelona, and that was like the worst place in the world to be, and went in a lockdown with my at the time girlfriend, now ex, and I mean, that was an interesting struggle in itself. But like thinking back now, and then I'd been in Czech Republic and then Finland after that. But it's like, I can't even remember that. And that was only a year and a half ago. And so I can't imagine with having to do business meetings and making decisions and navigating that. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was so crazy because like, I remember that like the one thing was that like, okay, the stores, like the grocery stores, they are still buying even though that the restaurants are closed. So what do we do if somebody will get the corona and like we are sort of put to home and into the quarantine and all that?
In the brewery, you say, okay,
so we need to keep somebody safe. And then Janne said that, okay, fuck it, I'll do it. And he went home and he basically never left home for 2 months. He was there like doing his work and everything, but sort of just keeping one guy safe, that like if rest of us will get the COVID and we are quarantined, so he can come here and sort of give the beers to the pickup guys and all that. And also other thing what was really, really crazy in the beginning, like when you went to the like a grocery store, like the shelves, they were like empty.
Right. Yeah. Toilet paper was more valuable than gold.
Yeah, it was like, oh shit, the world is really ending. It was so crazy to see all that. But luckily it's not that bad anymore, even though it's still like a mess.
Yeah, is there still, I mean, you said it yourself of if the world goes, and that's what I fear myself also. But is there a thought process now with every decision you guys are making with kind of this COVID world we're living in mind?
Well, in a way, there is, because like still a lot of the sales come from the restaurants, and for some reason, restaurants and events have been chosen as the main source of the whole evilness of the Corona thing. So we have to think about that all the time. But at the same time, I think we are prepared for the sort of a world to open and like getting sort of back to normal. I don't think we will ever get to the like 2019 world again, at least for quite some time. But like all the plans what we had for the like exporting our products and all that, like they have been frozen, pretty much all of them. Of course, we have kept contact to all the like the several contacts that we had, but it's not the same. You cannot see the people. You cannot go there and give the tastings and sort of make the personal bond with the other guys and so forth. But I'm looking forward to sort of start traveling already this fall. I have the 2 shots already.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so I could basically go and travel, but
you're a free man.
Yeah,
now.
But it's still like in some countries they are not willing to sort of to take you.
Yeah.
Because, well, it's the same situation here. Like if you're a bar owner and you have like agreements with breweries or spirit houses. The last 18 months you haven't been able to sell that much that you would normally do. So you have to first like fulfill your previous contract before you can start taking new products and so forth. So it's been really hard for us to get into the new bars even here in Finland because of this whole like delay in doing your leaders thing.
Yeah, that's a big. I haven't gotten the shots yet. I'm still a little just waiting. I wouldn't say like anti anything, but that's a big reason for the van. It's like, I know maybe technically they say that, and probably maybe shouldn't say that. Technically they say at borders they'll check and this and that, but to get here from Barcelona, I had to cross I had to do it all. And so like, I know and then if I say, hey, I'm in my home, like at a certain point, I know I can get to certain places. So that was a big reason for the van for me. Are you guys only in Finland?
No, we are. Before like this Corona, we were doing business in Denmark, Singapore, Hong Kong, and Macau. And Singapore still, but like the amounts are really small. And we were just like talking about like expanding that side of the business before COVID. And
how do you guys get to Asia? Like, it's kind of weird to me for it to be Denmark is one other European country, and then that way.
Since we started, our main focus was first to sort of make it here in Finland, like get the business up and running here, and but then throughout like our contacts and a lot of luck and that kind of things, like we have not done the exporting business in a sort of professional way yet.
Okay.
Like we were just about to start it. Me and Janne actually got a training for how to make a international money making business and all that. But we have
a YouTube video or something.
Yeah, we took a course. How to be a millionaire in one night. So but now we aim to sort of focus more resources on the exporting stuff and all that. So. But these countries, like the Singapore contact, this guy he was visiting Finland and he was doing some like tours here in North Savo, and then somebody said to him that like go and check out this brewery also. Like
he's a Singaporean guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
And he came and like we sort of immediately clicked, and he saw what we were trying to do, and we understood like what he's trying to do, and so we started really small and then started to grow, and then when we were thinking that like, okay, now let's really hit the gas to the floor and try to do something then the whole COVID thing came, and but we have now started to talk again, like what could we do and how could we do it. The Hong Kong market is also like we got sort of the first like the partner that we had there came here to the brewery and liked us and wanted to start exporting or importing it to Hong Kong, and we did it with that company for a while, but then it sort of we were doing in a way that well that it became too small, and they couldn't like sort of do the whole process, so we switched to a bigger company, and but in Hong Kong it's weird because it's only like e-commerce now, like what they are selling, but still they are selling quite well. But
so it's everything online strictly.
Yeah, so no bars at the moment. We are not selling to bars or not to even like grocery stores. It's only e-commerce.
So from just a regular person, a non-business, just all.
Yeah, well, it's a website where you can buy all your groceries and all the beers at the same time, and. We went there, like Janne has been there 3 times, I've been there once, and we sort of got from the Airbnb like a normal Hong Kong apartment.
Okay.
And it was, it was supposed to be for 4 persons, and I think like there's not so small studio apartment here in Kuopio that was the size of the.
And that was for 4.
Yeah, and then when you go to the kitchen, you have like maybe 3 small like closets where you can fit all the food and everything that you have. The fridge was really small, and like the space is really limited there. So they told us that like nobody in the whole country will buy like a 24 bottle box of beer ever, because they have problems to get it to fit somewhere.
They're only drinking for that week.
Yeah, so basically what they are doing, so I'm gonna cook tonight chicken, and I'm gonna buy 2 beers at the same time, and every day they will buy amount of alcohol that they are consuming on that day, pretty much. So there's no storage.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so when were you in Hong Kong?
We were there in 2018.
Okay,
like,
so before the guy ate the bat. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it was before that.
Okay.
And we only got like 1 year of a good operating time there before the whole thing started. So,
what were your just overall thoughts of China or Hong Kong?
Well, it's in a way it's an awesome place.
Okay.
Like just because it's so different. But my visit was there like was it like 4 days, and then we went to Singapore and we spent 4 days there. Comparing those 2 like cities or countries, like I would rather live in Singapore because it was like a more cleaner and seemed to be more safe and all that. But they are so different that I didn't even sort of try to understand like how they live their lives, and I was just like, okay, you tell me what works here, and we try to help you with that.
Yeah, especially being there 4 days, and I can only imagine then compared with Kuopio, or where are you originally from?
Well, I'm from here, like
In
actually
Kuopio? Okay.
Nilsia, which is 60 kilometers even up north. Like,
Okay.
you know Tahko, like
Yeah,
the ski
yeah.
resort, it's next to it.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have to say that this Hong Kong visit was before the whole like China started to control in Hong Kong. So the riots and all those, they happened afterwards. So that was also a big bump for our business, because the whole country was messed up and there was like all these riots.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know when, as we said, the timeline now of life has been so...
That was like 2019 when the
Okay.
rioting happened, and then right after that came the whole COVID thing.
Aha. Yeah, gotcha. So you said you spent what how old are you?
47.
Okay. You seem younger.
Thank you.
Yeah. I was like, wait a minute. Okay, you said he lived in Helsinki for a while. He's done this.
Yeah.
Like, so did you live in Kuopio? What's been your kind of path of where you've lived throughout your life then?
Yeah, so I was like I finished high school 92, so then I thought that I will be an engineer, and I went to study for that for 1 year in Lappeenranta. But actually quite soon when I started the studies, I realized that like I'm not the engineer type of people, like when I compare to myself to other classmates. And so then I went to army, and from army I came back to Kuopio, and I started my like what's this, like the business studies.
Okay.
And 97, like just when I was about to like sort of finalize my studies, we opened the bar here in Kuopio. And
that was what was it?
Tahti.
Tahti. Okay.
Yeah, it's like where the Gloria is now.
Oh, so right on the
it's
strip.
like
I'll admit I know that street pretty well.
Yeah, yeah. So before that, it was a sort of an arcade hall. Like you had the arcade games, and it was the first bar in that address. And we had the downstairs as a sort of a club, and then the upstairs was a street music bar. And it was at the time it was the most popular place in Kuopio. Like we got all the athletes there, and then because of we had all the athletes there, all the good-looking girls came, and after you get the all good-looking girls,
everybody else comes.
So it's a formula for successful bar.
That makes my ego feel good to know that it starts with the athlete, right? You know, like in most cases, you might skip that stage, and it's just we got all the good-looking girls there. But to know it starts there,
you need to get somehow the good-looking girls.
True,
like, at least here in Finland, they say that all the like Miss Finlands and all these, they are always like hook up with the hockey players. Or, So if you're a beauty, like a queen or whatever, you most likely will hook up with the hockey player or whatever athlete.
So then you got to find, all right, the most attractive sports bar club combination to get those dudes in. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So, and then 99, me and my brother, we sold our shares for the bar, and we actually started two different kind of companies. One was free sheet paper, like if you know, well, you most likely don't know, but here in Finland was like City magazine was the biggest one that you could get from all the bars, and it was nationwide. So we started
just a magazine of just
it's funded by advertisement, and it's aimed for the youth, like 20 plus years, like
something to look at before you had phones in the bar.
Something like that.
Gotcha.
And that business like expanded. At the end, we were in 8 cities in like Finland, like all the major ones except Helsinki. And then also the other company that we founded was like at that time it was called New Media Companies. Like it was the .com time in a way. And we were doing SMS games. Those were the mobile games back in the days. And then also like
what kind of game?
Like
Snake or
the SMS games were like adventure games where you got a small description of what's going on, and then you had to like 3 choices.
Like choose your own adventure book, but via text. Interesting. I never heard of that before.
Yeah, and also what we did was we started out the fantasy manager games. So ES Liigapörssi, which is the biggest fantasy sport game here in Finland at this time, we started that like even like maybe 5-6 years ago. Some of our code was still on that, like
whoa.
And then we did one for the football, like soccer also, and then we had all kind of plans to do all kind of things on that scene. But
were you a gamer?
Yeah.
That's like what kind of drove you towards that kind of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Like we used to have a Commodore 64, and I even tried to sort of program my own games, but it was always based on the instructions. So I just typed whatever it said that you need to type. So I never got really hang on the coding itself. But so from that, I went to Helsinki 2001, and I started to be a TV producer for a program about games called Tilt TV. It's every Finnish young boy knows that program because it was all about like PC and console games. So I was producer for that and a couple of other programs for 4 years. And from that I went to Nokia to do mobile games for Nokia. Like, I don't know if you remember or ever heard about Engage.
Engage? No, I don't know if I do.
Yeah, it was the first like sort of a gaming phone in the world. Like, it was famous for the side talking first.
Okay.
And then they came up with the second version of the phone, and at that point I went.
Maybe I would if I saw it. I mean, I was like, I'm just on that cusp at 30. I'll be 31 in a couple days now. That I still played outside when I was younger.
Yeah.
But then once you got done with everything outside, then you came in and played Nintendo.
Yeah.
You know, that was how it worked. So maybe if I saw it.
Yeah, the whole Engage thing, in the beginning it was a big joke because you had to talk to the phone like this. So you couldn't speak like this because the whole speaker things were, it was a mess up thing. And but then they came up with the QD. It was the Engage QD, which was the second version of the gaming phone. And I started as a game producer there. And I started with the co-publishing side of things. So I was doing Civilization for Engage, Colin McRae Rally. And I actually won a BAFTA award in 2005.
Colin McRae, the motorcycle? No,
Rally.
Rally,
Yeah.
yeah.
So in 2005, it was... like the BAFTAs, they are like the Oscars in US, but in a way bigger because they include all kind of digital media there, so games and all that. So it was selected as the best mobile handheld game 2005, and I was producer for that. And then after that, I switched to the Nokia publishing. So I started to sort of create my own IPs, and I did Dirk Dagger series, which is sort of a point and click and adventure game, and that was selected as a best gameplay design in the International Mobile Gaming Awards in 2008. So I'm how do you say, like
you got a good record.
Yeah.
I
won two big
man.
trophies, and and then 2009 I sort of then you could sort of see the problems that Nokia was having, and the whole, like, we were not able to work for pretty much 1 year because there was like they were trying to fix the problems they had with the software and the hardware, and so we didn't have a hardware against to code any software, so we were just like not doing anything there for pretty much a year. And so they came up with this idea that they need to lose people from the Nokia, so they gave this free, like you could get quite a good package if you agreed to go. So I was one of the first ones to agree on that one, and then I was doing consulting.
How much did you have to think of? Was the package that good that you volunteered quickly, or were you just ready for something new? Or
I was pretty much ready for something new anyways, but the good thing was that like I got like a extra motivation throughout this package thing. And so after that I did consulting because one of the game projects I had going inside the Nokia was like not finished yet, and they wanted me to finish it, so I was doing consulting job for maybe 6 months to Nokia, and that was the best time of my like professional life because I had to work 1 day per week, and I got pretty much the same salary.
Damn, okay, note to self, consulting is a good gig.
Yeah. And throughout, because I did this consulting jobs, I got to meet Antti J. Jokinen, who is a Finnish movie director.
Okay.
And he had this one project where he wanted to sort of mix movies and games and all that. And he had sort of a plan for that, but it was 3 years old, and he wanted to be sort of updated. Because this is the time when the whole Facebook gaming and all this was coming, and so my job was to update the plan to fit the current situation in the world that time, and I started to do that, and somehow I ended up as a CEO for his production company. So and
Somehow.
and I was an executive producer for Hollywood film. At that time, we were supposed to shoot a Hollywood film called Niklas Nord here in Lapland, Finland, and Julianne Moore was she was the main star of that movie, and I had no idea about anything in movie business, but yeah, I did it for almost a year. But then
how does that come about? I mean, you just say somehow I was there. I mean, what's the process of all of a sudden you're there?
I don't know. I think the main reason is that I don't have any kind of a career plan, so I just whatever feels exciting and good and I get excited about. I always said I'm in. I don't think too long, and that's a huge problem because all these things that I've done in my life, the common thing is that once I get a sort of a hang on how the business works and what you were or should be doing there, I then move to totally different direction. So even when it comes to the gaming, I was pretty good in producing games.
Yeah.
And a lot of my
2 awards say so at least, yeah.
And a lot of my friends stuck with that industry, and quite many of them are quite rich at the moment because they were part of Supercell or whatever, and so I never sort of managed to cash in with the things that I've done. So that was one of those things that I just ended up there, and I did it for a year, and at that time my second daughter came to this world, and I was sort of thinking that okay, though I'm not seeing this movie happening, and so maybe I'm not gonna work here anytime soon. So I started to look around, and I almost came back to the gaming industry, but then I met these guys that were running a software company, and it was pretty, in a way, lame thing that it was basic software that they were doing, but they were looking for a CEO and a partner, and so I joined them for 3 years, and it was in a way really good time because we were growing and the business was going well, and but for me it was quite boring because it's
not Hollywood movies. It's not making games.
Yeah, and in a way that they did all the work, so I was just at the end of the time when I was there, I had absolutely nothing to do. I pretty much read the whole internet twice, and at that point I was okay, this is it. I cannot come to work anymore and just browse internet.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah.
And so at that point, I came up with this great idea that I want to run a hodl or a small hodl business.
Man, I'm still every sorry to interrupt, but every time you say the next thing, I'm okay, now the brewery's coming. It's no, here's a software, here's a hotel, here's a, all right, sorry. So a hotel next.
Right. So then our whole family, my soon-to-be ex-wife, unfortunately, we moved to Tahkovuori, and we started to operate Ukko Hodl and restaurant. It was a small hodl with 15 rooms and a bar, and then a la carte restaurant. And
what was the motivation for wanting to do hotel after the 3 things that?
We had this sort of a romantical idea that how it should be living in a ski resort, ski all day, and
Gotcha.
I like skiing a lot. I've been doing that for whole my life, and we sort of saw that in a life-changing thing that we want to get away from the I don't know what the Oravan pyörä is in English, but the rush years of
the rat race daily life, normal
because
city thing kind of.
Back in the day we used to live in Espoo and our jobs were in Helsinki downtown, so every day we 45 minutes in the morning, 45 minutes in the afternoon in a rush, and we basically lived for Fridays, so throughout Monday to Friday we were just struggling and try to survive, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday we were sort of a living.
So all of the software stuff was in Helsinki? Because you had the bar here, and then it went all to or majority like software, computer, games. That was all then in Helsinki.
Yeah, it was 2001 and 2013. Like we got the hotel and bar 1st of January 2014.
Okay.
And we had little to none experience of running hodl at that point. So I remember always going in the first day to the hodl and like all the stuff was there and they were expecting like getting instructions and all that, and I was like, yeah, so what should we do? But we learned.
So what do you guys normally do?
Yeah.
This. Okay, go. Let me know when you're done with that.
Yeah, it was really like crazy times, and well, because it's such a small operation, we like when you have the sort of high season, it's really easy. You get plenty of stuff, and you get plenty of paying customers, and the business is running in a way because like money is coming in, so you can spend money to go out. But then came the May, which was at that time like the slowest and the quietest month of the year in Tahkvuori, and pretty much we had to do everything ourselves, like keeping the hodl open, cleaning, renovating, serving, whatever. And we sort of quite soon realized that, okay, so we are not like cutting from the hours, at least, like there were extra hours. We had to work 7 days per week. And from the morning,
dream.
Yeah, the dream didn't sort of come through. And yeah, but still we did it for 3 years, and during that time, like I started to get familiar with the craft beers, and like saw that like how people were asking more and more those, and I've always been interested of doing something like with my hands. Like my biggest dream was to be able to build like wooden boats. Like I would be somewhere like carving and all
that was like the childhood dream.
Yeah, sort
kinda?
of a really romantical dream.
Okay.
And I'll be there with the candlelight and smell of fresh food and all that.
Well, knowing your story right now, I'd say that's in like 5 years you're going to start doing that.
I don't know. Like, who knows? But so then I started to get interested of the idea, and then I contacted Janne that they were having the Malja, the beer bar here.
Okay.
And like
I've been there once or twice.
Yeah, I bet. So I asked him that like, you guys are selling so much beer that you must have thought about like own brewery at some point. And Janne and Petteri were both like, yeah, like they have been thinking about it, but they just haven't got the time or energy to do it. So we decided then that like, well, let's see if we could put up a brewery, and we start planning it. This is like spring 2016, and then after some time in planning, like we started to be really excited about the idea, and then we started to talk about to the like other people also, like this is something that we have been thinking about, and everybody was saying that like great idea, who's the guy who's gonna make the beer, and we were all looking at each others and like, it's not gonna be me. Like,
yeah, okay.
And then we realized that like, yeah, we need somebody who knows what to do, and we started to ask around, and everybody was always pointing to same direction. Aki Railanmaa, who is our brewmaster still at this day, and so we contacted him and explained that like this is what we have been thinking about it, and would you be interested of joining us and make this happen? And Aki also had the dream of own brewery, but like he has never been entrepreneur, so he thought that like he's not gonna do it by himself. But then he thought that like, okay, this is a good group of people, like we can try it with 4 of us. And so then we started to plan it, and 2016 September we've started the company, and December same year we ordered the first batch of our brewery equipment, and then it arrived like March. And
so everything's brewed here in this building?
Yeah, like we have never brewed. Well, the first samples of the small patches Aki did somewhere else, but like we have this small equipment where you can test and try things. But the first batch that went commercial, and ever since, all the beers have been brewed here.
Whoa, man, that's quite an interesting windy path to get to here and now. And so what's now we hear kind of how the gang was formed. And so what's everybody's like individual role? Like what's your main focus then in the day or the week, and what's everybody's kind of role?
Yeah, well, Aki's role is simple. He's the brewmaster. Yeah. He takes care of the production side of things. Then Petteri is sort of our like CFO, like the money guy.
Okay.
Like that's his main role, like taking care of the numbers and all that. But also he's like a overall guy, so he does everything here. Like he can operate some of the machines. Also, he's not at this point. He's not able to brew himself, but I would say that that's coming in some time also. But he's like overall guy, taking care of pretty much all the stuff that the rest of us won't.
Okay.
And then Janne is basically, he's responsible for the brand and like taking care of that and all that stuff, even though we do it quite a lot with me and Janne together. So we are sort of as a team.
Okay.
Me and Janne, we sort of think about the marketing and branding and all those things together. And my role officially is CEO, so I'm basically responsible for everything that happens here. But like it should be main focus on the sales and the marketing and those things. And of course, like we are a small group of people, only like 8 people, so I don't have to do too much like HR. But also that would fall into me also, like if there would be these kind of issues.
Man, your story is pretty interesting to me. I mean, in general, I think with all the different avenues, and I myself am kind of a bit of a spiritual guy, or like a not too religious, but a big like mindset guy, and I think our minds are way more powerful than a lot of people give them credit at times.
Absolutely.
And so I personally know for myself of like playing college football. Now this is my 7th season playing professional. Yeah, it's kind of in quotes professional, but it's my only job, kind of starting a podcast vlog from scratch, and it's relatively taking off. And a lot of that shit, a lot of people would say like, you can't do that. Or like, there's no fucking way. But I've always believed it to happen. And so you even more so, I feel, with the switch from, engineering at business to every step along the way. How is your, mindset been with like everything you get into? And then like, is there I don't know how to actually ask it, but it's like, have you always, what do you think made you that way? Or can you remember anything like growing up that just solidified this, I can do whatever I want in a way, like mentality?
Well, actually I've been thinking about that quite a lot lately. Like what made me as how I am. And I think one of the things is that like I'm easily like excited about things, and I'm sort of my basic nature is sort of I'm interested of a lot of things, like, so I'm not able to see myself to do one thing for the rest of my life, because I get distracted and I get interesting on this stuff and that stuff, and then I will start to do those. And and other thing is that like growing up, like my parents always have sort of supported and allowed us to do whatever we want to do. Like basically just saying that like as long it's legal and you get some
you don't
money
get caught.
somewhere, so it's fine with them. But actually, when I started this brewery thing, and first time I remember I was in my parents' place sitting in sauna like with my brother and my father, and I said to them that like, yeah, it looks like that this brewery thing is gonna happen, so I think that's what I'm gonna do next. So that's the only time my father has ever said that. Like he said that like, no, this time I have to say no. You're
Really?
not gonna do this.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It won't make. So I say that like this time you won't do it. And, I was like, well, let's see.
Let's see. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you send him a picture of this every morning. Like,
yeah. Well, not really. Like
No.
first I want to make the thing really to like work and success. But but coming back to the original question, like I don't really know. Like I know it's in a way it's like people may think that it's a great thing that you sort of follow your heart and all that, like what they say, but it's actually like not that easy, and I haven't really enjoyed it too much. Even though I always like sort of present that it's great that you do what you love and blah blah blah, but I think I would have had easier life just sticking to something that I sort of understand and know. But I guess I have in that way like a fucked up mind that it's not for me, that kind of like focusing on one thing. And this brewery thing is the best job so far, because you have to sort of try to be creative, and also at the same time you really need to do everything by the book, and whether it's on the production, like cleaning up, or we are highly like regulated by the government.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have the customs, and we have the tax people, and then of course the government itself and so forth. So you need to be really creative in the way to try to get yourself a name and get the beers to be sold somewhere. But at the same time, you need to be really, really like strict and take care of the details and all that. So far, this has been the best thing for me. So you can get loose and wild and do crazy stuff, but at the same time you have to come to the work every day, and it's really hard work. So it's not just that we are just sipping beer here and doing stupid stuff, even though it might look that way to the outside people. But
for sure. No, you said it really well, and I relate big time to the for a lot of times maybe didn't enjoy what I was, even though, because along like in a short my little time, I didn't get a scholarship out of high school, so I had to go play junior college, and basically college football for me, I ended up getting a scholarship, getting everything paid for, which kind of allows me to have zero debt, which is very rare for an American student to finish with. So while I don't make much, I don't owe anybody anything. So I've been able to, well, as long as I'm not in the red, I'm good. But those 5-6 years or so of struggling to get on a team or get a scholarship, or once I had one, not playing, and not, like I've said before on this, like I was probably depressed, like, and even then coming out doing a thing here in Europe, and I know now kind of the next adventure is the van life and traveling around doing that. I know, the van might break down somewhere. Yeah. I might be short on money for this time, or something's going to show up that in the like zoomed out picture sucks.
Yeah.
But then it's, I think you're similar where, and a way I've gotten through it now, and as I'm getting older and gaining a little more perspective, is like when some shitty stuff is happening, I just try and tell myself like, this is going to be a really good story in a year or two.
Yeah.
Like, let's just fucking get through it.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we get through it, like, oh, this is going to be a fun story to tell, you know? And so no, it's cool to hear though that this is now your favorite.
Yeah, so
thing
far,
that's happening.
absolutely. And like going back to what you said, that like we have this saying in Finland that we say that like this is gonna be an army experience. Like we all have to go to army, and it sucks for the 6, 8, 9, 12 months that you have to be there, but like you get lifelong friends there, and even like 1 year when you're out of the army, it starts to look like the best time of your life.
Yeah.
And
And then you always have that story to tell
Yeah.
with your friend. Yeah, I've heard already just at practice. Well, when we were in the army, you know, it was different, and having to camp in -20 and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it's like that's the. I mean, the shitty times I think build the most character for the most part.
Absolutely, like I've been going through like, well, of course, this whole divorce thing is the toughest thing I've ever dealt with. But like couple of times in my 47 years of living here, like I've got like in really like deep problems, and like whether it's related to like other people, or then like I've done a bankruptcy like once, and even though I was the biggest like claimer, like the company that I had to put to bankruptcy was owing most of the money to myself. So it was a weird situation. But yeah, so I got into like for several years I had to pay all the debts back that I got sort of through that, and it was a tough time. Like
What was that one of the things you mentioned?
Yeah, it was the free sheet paper. Like that was a weird thing. Like it was doing well, and we actually like we sold it, but we only got like small amount of the money that was supposed to come, and the rest never. And then the new owners, they sort of managed to put it down in 4-5 months. So I never got the money out of what I've sold, but they sort of ruined my business, what I was able to build at that time. And basically I was like, I lost, in my perspective, a lot of money at that time. And yeah, so when that happens, like of course it's the most baddest army experience you ever experience. Like you really feel that like now the walls are really coming on to be, but afterwards you realize that like, oh man, I'm so lucky I had that experience, because now I know this, and now I won't do that, and whatever.
If that hadn't have happened, then it wouldn't have led me to try that or meet this person or go there or whatever. I mean, my one of many, but the kind of really shitty time that led to a beautiful moment was up until right before I moved to Europe the first time. I'd kind of always planned on playing in Europe once I finished in the States. And so I'd graduated from college, moved back home to Seattle, living with my mom, had a girlfriend that we'd done long distance for a little while. I knew I was going to leave in like 6 months to play, so let me try and find a job. The whole like, just get a degree and you get a good job thing, you know, like is quite a good sales job by the U.S. education system. And so I'm working this shitty retail job with a faltering relationship that ultimately like kind of end up getting cheated on, played, while just hating my day every day, driving home thinking, what the fuck am I doing? You know, and it all came to a head of the ultimate, like, I always thought I was going to lose my mind.
Yeah.
You know, like literally, I really thought that. And on that day, a team in Portugal, which is where I played my first 2 seasons, messaged me at the pinnacle of mind-blowing insanity and said, hey, we can only offer you flights and accommodation and a meal a day, but you can leave in a month. And everywhere else, if I was going to play Germany, Finland, wherever, for enough to save some money, would be 7 months away.
Yeah.
And I said, fuck it. I don't know. All I've heard is Portugal's cool. Let me do it. I ended up kind of renegotiating once I was there, and that's turned into like Portugal is where I feel most at home. I played there a second year.
Yeah.
Met my best friend of life so far, and it was like, if I wasn't fucked in the head at that moment, I would have told him no salary, like go fuck yourself, you know, like it would have never happened. And so it's always fun to hear, like, again, this is a fun story to tell now. 6 years ago, 7 years ago, that was not so very much fun, you know.
Well, I have a similar experience, like when you mentioned Seattle. This is 2005, 2006. I was still at that time working for Nokia, and girlfriend at that time was like, our relationship ended like really ugly way from her side, and I was really devastated. Like I didn't think it was December, and my boss at that time in Nokia, like the best boss I've ever had, like, and ever will have. Like I was sort of crying to him, like, yeah, this is sucks. I need to get something to think about. And we had a studio in Vancouver. Like at that time Nokia Games had the studios in San Francisco, Vancouver, and Espoo, and then smaller studios in Bochum, Germany, and then where was the Asian? I can't remember where the Asia was, but so I asked him that, like, could I go for an exchange to Vancouver studios for some time? And he said that, like, well, I don't know, like, let me think about it and figure out whether it's possible. And a couple of days after that, he said that, yeah, actually you can go. Like, when would you like to go? I was like, as soon as possible. So right after New Year's, I flew to Vancouver, and I stayed there for the springtime. And I was about to move there, actually. Like, it was really close at that time. But so that, like, starting this ugly ended relationship, going to Vancouver, which was actually like I think the best spring I've ever had, like, in a way. Of course, you cannot compare now with the kids and everything, but I was skiing every weekend. We went to Whistler or some other mountain, and I really liked to work there, like all our colleagues, and I made one of my best friends, Will, from there. Like we did so much cool stuff, like, all the time, and so I went there as a total wreck, and then when I came back to Finland, like, I was a totally new person, like. In a way, I got, like, enlightenment or whatever.
Yeah.
Like.
And how long were you there?
It was like 4 months or so. Yeah. So, but that was like the best year ever. Like I said, I really like to ski. So even though I was working full time, I was able to ski like 30 days on that spring.
Oh, sweet.
So Squaw Valley, Whistler, and like all these cool places. And
oh, cool, man. Yeah, well, shit. Hopefully, well, we'll see. I mean, I guess when does ski season end here technically?
Well, it's late April.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then because it looks very possible that I could be back here. I grew up snowboarding, or skiing first, and then snowboarding, and my mom still has a condo at the local snowboard or ski resort.
Yeah.
Right outside of Seattle. And so I think I've gone once in the last 3 years or so, 4 years maybe. But it's so much like riding a bike. And that one time and growing up, like, both my cousins were sponsored by Burton at certain points. And I mean, I was always the, like, little kid trying to hang out with the older cousins. Yeah. And it was, hey, either keep up or we'll see you later. Yeah. And so... yeah, we'll have to get out on the slopes then. Where do you normally go to Taco if you go here, or where do you?
Yeah, that's the easiest.
The closest.
Yeah, but then I've been I've been trying to go every year for at least once to Alps or whatever, like abroad. But of course not lately. But this year I went to Ruka, and It's
It's
up north, like
Okay.
a resort there. But yeah, I'm so old that I had the first snowboard in Tahkovuori.
really.
Yeah, like 87. It
And
was-
they hated you or what? Like
Yeah, it was,
that,
I
that
was,
whole beef of
yeah, I was really like a freaky weirdo in the slopes, because at that time like monoski was the like sort of the
Yep.
cool weird thing, and even that wasn't that popular. But like I had the first snowboard, and I remember like people looking like, what is that? And like when the next year then it started to sort of grow a little bit more, and yeah, I did it for a few years. But with the snowboard, like I never like, we didn't have the box jumps and all these like what you have these days, and what would have make it easier. So we had to always like build our own jumps, and then came the snow machine and ruined the jumps, and you had to do it all over again next day. But yeah, I got sort of stuck on some level in snowboarding. I never improved from like the level I reached, and that's really like pissed me off. So I went back to the skis, and
Okay.
so then came the carving skis, and so that was fun. And then afterwards came the twin tips. You can do.
So
tricks.
what's your favorite now of like I personally I grew up doing the park and all
Yeah.
that stuff and trying to kill myself, and so like
Yeah.
looking back, I won't do anything I tried to do when I was 16, but now I like the backcountry and
Yeah,
the
that's
powder, that kind of stuff.
Absolutely, because like that was the only fun thing that you could do back then, because we didn't have the parks or
Yeah.
anything. So the funniest thing was to go to the like
Yeah.
off and right there. So still I like that. And now we have to remember, I'm already 47, even though I can't remember always that I'm that old. But like I said, we went to Ruka with 3 of my friends this year, and we were skiing there for 4 days. And like one day we were having a lunch and had a couple of beers there, and then we went to the park area of Ruka, which is on the springtime really big. Like pretty much the other side of the mountain is just one big park. And
Okay.
there was this half pipe, like not the giant one, but the one where you have like 5 meter wall there. And one of my friends was like, "Yeah, Samuli, like, didn't you used to ride the half pipes like 15, 16 years ago?" And I was like, "Well, not that much, but yeah, I did some." And so show us how it's done, and like really like trying to piss me off, and basically say that you old fart, you
Yeah.
cannot do it anymore. So with the few beers I had under in the lunch, I decided that fuck, I'll do it. And so I went there, and even when I sort of landed the half pipe, I really thought that like, well, that went smoothly. Like I must look like really cool. And then I went to the first time, and I was totally scared, because I thought that like, oh man, I have way too much speed. And so I got over the edge, and I managed to land it like smoothly, and then to the other side, and even bigger air. And then third time I came back, and then like it was the biggest air of those all airs, and I even did a little crap on the air. And,
Okay.
but then when I landed that, I decided, oh man, this is not happening. Like, like I haven't been doing this for 16, 17 years, and now I'm like doing air here. And I stopped there, and the 3 of my friends came, and what the fuck, Samuli? Like,
But you
like
showed them at least.
Yeah, they tried to do it, but they didn't even get to the halfway of the like the.
No, yeah. No, the half pipe is no joke.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I was like, I don't know what happened, like, but I can tell you that it's not gonna happen ever again. Like, I'm not like, this is end of my half pipe
well,
career.
that's a good, that's
Yeah.
a good way to go out on the story. Actually, thinking about it now, like this tripod of the camera is from probably when I was 14, and the idea was like, we're gonna make a snowboard video.
Yeah.
Like me and my friends. Damn it, I hadn't thought about this forever. I used to crochet beanies.
Yeah.
And me and like my 3 buddies were like, we're gonna create this company called 425, which is our area code.
Yeah.
And we're going to make snowboard and ski videos and make beanies and sell them on MySpace. and like, just thinking back now that is where this tripod originated. And then we, of course, maybe filmed a little bit one day, and then that dream kind of faded quickly. But it's like, shit, I still got the tripod.
Yeah. Well, back then you didn't have like not even like a decent like video recorder.
No,
so
it was the camcorder. I mean, straight like.
Yeah, I'm that old that we didn't even have those. So
yeah.
we had these like just the cameras, and we tried to like take photos and. Yeah, actually, one of my childhood friends, just like a few months back, sent it some photos like from. One of the ski trips that
really
we did, and it was so like, oh man, like the clothes and like then you had the only thing you did with the snowboard was like,
yeah. Yeah, shit. You might have to send me a couple of those. I'll put them in the like on the YouTube because that could be cool. Yeah. That could be really cool. That's yeah. Ski. I didn't know. That's where's been your favorite place you've skied or snowboarded or
Well, I really like the Whistler.
Okay.
Yeah. So both of the mountains were really nice, and like I skied the most there in January 2006, and then it was like raining 29 days out of 31 in Vancouver, and all that rain came as a snow in Whistler, and so I think the snowfall was on that month like 6 meters.
Jeez.
So whenever we went there, like, okay, so you always had to do the explosions.
Mm-hmm.
So we always like rose up based on like when they boomed the snow, then we could go up and up and up and. But like one memory I have there, like it was a perfect day, like it had snowed all night, and then it was blue skies, sun was shining, and we got top of the seventh heaven, like on the, I think it's the Whistler Mountain, or is it the Black I can't remember, but like that was the first time I felt like, oh man, like living is not so bad after all. Like,
this is it.
Yeah, so you had this much powder, and I think we were like in the first 10 people that was running that day, and it was so cool.
Yeah, those are the days. Like being able to have the condo up there was such the advantage, because occasionally it would snow so much overnight that the highways would get shut down.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't get opened back up until maybe noon.
Yeah.
And so everyone who was on the mountain at night got to go there from 9 to noon, and is like, however much, I know it, an inch, a foot or two of powder.
Yeah.
And nobody in line, because nobody could get up there. And it's like, that's the same exact feeling. Is like, yeah, these days are pretty good.
Yeah.
Like,
one other trip was like we did the games developer conference in San Francisco on that spring. Like I had a lot of colleagues from Finland, and then of course the Vancouver colleagues, and there was like maybe 10 of us that went to Squaw Valley after the conference, and we had a like huge cabin there, and overall it was so much fun. But like we had two so different days of skiing. Like first day it was snowing like nothing, like you couldn't see anything, and the next day then we went out to the like off the slopes, and I think it was really stupid that we went there, because like all the snowfalls would have happened there easily, but we just went there, and then I was skiing there on the backside of the slopes, and I run into a like tree or something, so I felt, and I lost other ski. So then I started to look for it, and I think I was looking for like 45 minutes, like just digging snow, trying to find the ski. And at that time it was like, I will never do this again. Like this sucks. I will stay on the slopes where you have the cat trails.
Yeah.
But when you got back to the, like, you found both of your skis, and like you're sweaty as hell, but then you go to the like after ski and have a first beer, and it's a like weird feeling of being alive.
Totally.
Yeah.
And snowboarding, skiing is my next adventure after football, or maybe in the middle of all of it, is getting into surfing, because I feel like snowboarding and skiing is second to surfing, where you're really one with nature.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I guess with snowboarding you can hike, so
Yeah.
you don't need the chairlift itself to get the runs in. You know, you can hike it same way, but surfing is just like you paddle out there and you get on Mother Nature, and then that's just how it is. And there's something special to that, big time.
Yeah, and I did like the 2020. I did what it's called when you climb up to the top of the mountain.
Like
You have like these things on the bottom of your skis, like this,
I don't know if we have an actual word for that.
Yeah, but
is there?
Because they closed all the ski resorts in Finland, like 2020, like end of March. So just when the slopes are in the perfect condition and the weather is great, you have like sunshine, -2, whatever. So I managed to get the equipment from one of my friends, and I thought, yeah, maybe I'll do the hiking on the top of the mountain and then ski down, and that was tough. I will never do that again. I'm gonna take the
good
lift.
idea. It's a great idea, and then in practice a little
Maybe
harder.
you're in a good fit. That's great, but not for me.
So yeah, you mean with not with snowshoes, but with the skis that.
Yeah, you have sort of like a sticker kind of thing on you put them on the bottom of the skis, and then you need to have a special kind of bondage, or what bond, like that you can raise your heel.
On the binding.
Yeah, binding. Yeah.
Okay.
So then you just climb up like.
Yeah. I don't even know what we call that, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So that you can do if you're in a good fit, but not when you're 100 kilos and bad shape, drinking beer.
Oh man, no, that's fun though. I haven't gotten to talk about skiing and snowboarding in a while. That's
and one more story about the skiing, because like back when I was a kid, like Tahkovuori was still like quite a small resort, but they started to sort of put down the woods and like the forest, like that. There we will have like new slopes and all that. But there was 2 winters where they have like put down the forest, but they didn't open the slopes yet. So those were perfect. You had to hike someone, like maybe half a kilometer or something.
Okay.
But then you had like a fresh powder, like. And that was like when I was a kid, that was most amazing times when we saw that, okay, now it's snowed, and you need to have a right kind of temperature so it doesn't get tough or it's not too light.
Yeah. No, that's I don't see myself moving back to the States or living there permanently really anytime soon, but the idea for me, if I ever do, is, well, because we still have that condo, is, well, for a winter, maybe in 5-10 years, and with hopefully this is the moneymaker, doing podcasting and stuff or other content creation, it's like, well, I'll go live at the condo, for a good winter. And like this winter back in my home resort was amazing, so I'm just seeing the Instagram stories and everything from my cousins, and that would be either ski bum, surf bum, so some kind of bum. That's what I'm. And then doing the little work on the side is also where I'm trying to go.
Well, I think the timing for that is perfect, because back in the days you didn't have these kind of opportunities.
For sure.
My cousin who lives in the States actually has been living pretty much all his life. after college he went to Jackson Hole for a year. Like there was maybe 6 or 8 of them. They rented a big place and they were working in a 1 hour photo or whatever, like just a fun thing. And me and my brother went there for a week back then, and that's one of the trips also that I will always remember, like doing the Jackson Hole experience.
How many times have you been to the States?
I don't know, like many times. Like when I was working for Nokia, like the best year I went there 5 times.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah, and I would say like maybe 20 times.
Ah, what's been your favorite place to go in the States? That's always an interesting one for me to hear.
Well, my brother used to live also in that area, and my cousin lives
In
there
Jackson
now.
Hole?
No, they lived in outside Los Angeles in the like Hermosa Beach and Manhattan Beach.
Yeah, like Southern California.
Yeah,
my
like
brother lives in Huntington Beach, right?
Yeah,
Like
so
near there.
like these small beach cities, and
Uh-huh.
those are like you don't really get the whole LA experience, and it's quite mellow and
Yeah, I mean, you look like you could be from there for sure. I mean, I do too. But
yeah. So that was really fun. I also loved San Francisco. Like I thought that was a great place, and well, then I lived for a while in Whistler, but that's on Canada side of things. But that was something that I was like I said, I almost moved there because like you had the Stanley Parks, and when you drive to the Whistler, you sort of see the mountains, and then you see the ocean, you can see the whales and all that. So that was cool. Then the other places I've been is like East Coast, like New York, Washington, and then Miami. But I wouldn't see myself living there. So
yeah,
like the beach city outside Los Angeles, Manhattan, Hermosa Beach, or Vancouver.
Yeah. No, that's I'm with you there. I went to, as I kind of explained, my college career was crazy. As I went to junior college, about 30 minutes outside of San Francisco. My brothers lived down in SoCal for pretty much my entire life.
Yeah.
He's technically my half brother, so he's like 55. And then I went to University of North Dakota, which is not a place you need to go visit. Trust me on that one. And then I finished up in Connecticut, just about an hour outside of New York City.
Yeah.
And then lived a little bit in Orlando for a while. And I think if I was going to move back now, I mean, I guess kind of also with COVID lifestyle stuff, like Florida and Texas are appealing just because it's the most open in a way.
Yeah.
But then certain places in the outside of LA beach area gets pretty open in itself too, like even San Diego, and so that area. But I've always thought maybe living in New York City for a year, just one, because that shit can change you because it's just so fast paced, and but just to see what it would be like to do a year of it, but I don't think that'll ever happen for me.
Yeah, I don't think like the older I get, like more sort of space and privacy I need. So my goal is that once the kids get older and they sort of go out and study. And
how old are they right now?
11 and 13. So I have 7-8 years still with them. But at some point, like just like have a whatever like rental in the city wherever that might be where I work, or if I work, but then have a like a place from Tahkovuori, like because it has all the things I like. I like to do all the outdoor sports like biking. I've been really into the e-biking now, and in the like trails and all that. Then I like to golf. I like to play paddle and all these things, and then of course skiing in the wintertime. So that would be my sort of like home,
right?
And I just like pretty much operate from there. If I need to be in the city, I'll spend a few days here and then go back to the Tahkovuori and be there in peace and quiet. And just go out every day.
So
Not to the bars, but
yeah,
every other.
every
day.
other. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, I was literally just you answered my question. I'm like kind of thinking in my head of like, all right, I was going to say 5 years, but then 7 to 8 years. I mean, I guess I can change it then. What's the goal for the business? Like, is there kind of an idea that at some point you get it to a certain point, like some other things where you got it figured out and then it's time to move on? Or how do you view the business right now or like what you're doing in this moment compared to in 7-8 years and maybe working and how it goes?
Well, I honestly believe that like pretty much all the founders of whatever business, whether it's brewery or whatever, they can get it to some point, and then it needs like fresh blood and fresh thinking and that kind of stuff. So I cannot see myself like retiring from this position. And in my mind I have really clear idea when is that like sort of time to make that move, but I don't know how long it will take.
It's just a feeling, or there's like a goal financially or statistically or something?
Well, it's based on the like knowing myself, because when the business grows to a certain point, you need to be more focused on like daily operations, numbers, and like that kind of stuff. It's becomes more and more like work.
Yeah. Okay.
And like I know that I'm not the right person at that point to do that. Like I can, and I want to be involved somehow, like till the end of the days. Like I can be a mascot or monkey or whatever, like a fool to do stupid stuff. But like at some point you need to get like a real business person to run the business. And like I said, I know when that moment is going to happen, and like we are big enough that we can sort of get a good, decent
Gotcha.
guy to run the business. But I still have a dream that like I could do at least one thing, like one new career at some point. But what it
boats.
is,
building the boats, dude.
well, I have a friend that is building a boat, and it's not looking that easy either. So,
well, yeah, but shit. I mean, someone would probably say the same thing about starting a brewery, or that kind of thing as well. So
yeah, but like it's getting harder and harder. Like the older you get, like the less sort of energy you have, and when you start whatever business, like it's you need so much energy, and you need to be really, really excited and get other people excited. And the older you get, the harder it gets. Like, of course, if you're like Elon Musk, like just being so smart and rich and like charismatic,
and like program. I think he's got the Neuralink in him, dude. You know, I think he has an advantage we all probably don't have right now.
Yeah, so it's easier for him. Like he can say whatever. Like I'm putting up whatnot business, and everybody's like, I mean, I'll buy.
Yeah, I know. He can start a fake cryptocurrency and it'll take off. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah.
Although that's something that's been, I've invested a little bit in. I don't know too much about it, but invested a little in crypto over the last 3-4 years. And I had one that it was maybe 5-6 months ago that did really well, like 100x, you know, like something crazy that I had purposely forgotten about, because it at one point had lost like 100x and then all of a sudden took off. And so that originally, when buying the van, I was thinking, okay, I just made this X amount of money, like basically got a bag of money handed to me.
Yeah.
Because I'd never thought about it. I said, okay, well, that's my van. And then with the way it all worked, I ended up not having to even touch that in order to get that thing. And so now I'm like, okay, well, what's the next kind of thing? And I guess you said something about Fat Lizard.
Yeah.
Who's like the main competition? Do you view, this indie brewery world, they're indie technically also, is there competition, or is it more collab? I mean, I'm sure there has to be some competition, but how does the feel of that atmosphere of the indie brewery world work? Are you guys kind of all like more together and fuck the big companies, like if we make it, or is there internal competition too?
Well, I bet there are breweries that are thinking that there is an internal competition going on, but of course I cannot speak on anybody's else behalf, but at least way we see it, and I would say that Fat Lizard is also agreeing with this, it's that our main competition, if there is to get more and more people to try out these like different kind of beers and drinks, and like if they are always buying Karhu or Sandels, like the 24 pack, and the only goal is to get wasted, like it's really hard for any of us like grow bigger. So we need to, like this old phrase about like the bigger the cake, like all these things, we need to get the cake bigger, so everybody's then doing fine. And I think I would say 99% of the breweries see it in a similar way, that like we as a group, like maybe I can't remember the fresh numbers, but I think it was 2019 that the 5% of the beers consumed in Finland was special beers. Like
only 5.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and like if you think about like let's say US, it's close to 20.
Yeah, I mean, because like for me, I'd say only 5% of the beer I consume is not.
Yeah.
You know, like if I go to a place and they don't have anything that's very specialty that I like, then I'll, okay, give me a Karhu or a Koff or a, you know, whatever. But I'm not happy about it.
Yeah, but it's luckily it's changing, and I would say at the moment it's more like 8, maybe close to 10 even. But that we need to get to the 20% sort of short of.
That's I mean, one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you initially or get involved with RPS is when I'll do lives on TikTok, a lot of people, Finnish people, will ask what my favorite beer is.
Yeah.
Obviously. And, you know, everyone, as soon as I answer, I say, well, you know, I like some of the RPS stuff I've had. I like the Fat Lizard, that like pop top thing that they got going. That's cool to me. And then someone will say like Sandels or whatever. And I'm like, I don't mean water, you know, I don't mean, you know, like no disrespect, but like that's the same as someone back home saying Coors Light or Bud Light or something like that. And so I was like, talking to, and you guys are here. And so that's kind of how this process has evolved with that.
Yeah, and we haven't talked about too much about the brewery, but like I was talking about my favorite topic myself about the future. But when it comes to the brewery, like I think we have a pretty good understanding, like everybody here who owns the brewery or works for the brewery or whatever, that we really want to be a sort of one of the like major craft breweries in Finland, and also we want to make like at least in some countries abroad, like because we have this rock paper scissors thing, which is awesome, because one of the goals were that like people would associate us with the game when they saw it, and like we can see it happening with our friends, and like when Patrick Laine is doing rock paper scissors on an NHL game and like losing and giving the stick to the young kid, every one of us will get like 20 links to that, like have you seen this, like is this sponsored by you guys, blah blah blah. And so that would be great, that like somewhere else than in Finland, like that same thing would happen, that like rock paper scissors would be associated with the brewery somewhere.
But that's really cool. It's a tough thing to do, I think, because I mean, I've now in Europe, I've lived in Portugal, Spain, Czech Republic, Poland, and now Finland, and I think out of those places, I feel like here has one of the best like specialty beer cultures.
Yeah.
Czech Republic a little bit, but I mean, it's also hard to compete in Czech Republic just because the normal beer there is cheaper than water.
Yeah.
So it's like it's almost a tough like you want me to pay 4 times the price and so it's a challenge in Europe, I think, to do that, but maybe outside of Germany.
Yeah, Germany is tough. But even the north part of Germany, like the Berlin area, that's changed in the last few years. And like overall, it's really tough to succeed in like these days because like the BrewDog is a good example. Like they really made it like everywhere in the world, and they are known pretty much, well, I would say across the globe. But like these days, when they started, there was like, let's say, as a number to compare, there was like 10 breweries. Now it's like 1,000 breweries.
Oh, wow.
And also like the skills that people are having these days. Like I would say each and every brewery, like microbrewery here in Finland, at least on a good day, they can make an excellent beer. Of course, not every day, but like it's a really hard competition. Like there's no other grocery section in the stores where you go when you have such a competition. Like imagine the city market in Päiväranta, like they have like 18 meters in 6 shelves, just like specialty beers.
That's right.
And that's not even all the beers they are having. Like I think in Turku, one of the city markets, they said that they have over 1,000 different kind of beers.
And it all Finnish?
Some of them are like outside Finland, but then you have your own beer. They're like 1 out of 1,000. Like
right, damn.
How can you get the people pick that one? So
right.
It's a tough world, but that makes it so much interesting. So you cannot do like things like they have been always done, and like we have been doing stuff that we can really be proud of. Like I don't think there's any microbrewery in the world that has been like a brewery partner in the soccer Premier League. Like we have been now 2 years in a row to Veikkausliiga, which is our like a top league in the soccer. It's always the Heinekens or Carlsberg of the world.
Right.
But, I think we made history there that like we were the first one in the world that were like a microbrewery is a brewery partner for.
Has there been any like other kind of thing marketing wise or something that you guys have tried that you felt has really translated and worked right away? Or
2018 we did this thing when Presidents Trump and Putin came to Finland.
Okay.
So we made a let's settle this like adult summit beer. And
and that's your sign off line or whatever on the email. I was going to ask about that too. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah. So that went really well because like I think we got like a coverage from all around the world. Like we bought this study like from one of these companies that make these studies, and based on that we can say that at least 500 million people in the world saw the bottle at least. And we were in the news like in US, in Europe, in Russia, in Asia, like all the places. Like that was huge. Like for a couple of days I felt like being somebody because like I got TV companies lined up to interview me. They started to call. I met the White House press office and I met the CNN like the main producers and like Fox News anchors and all these guys, and they were just like they asked to can we get an interview about this, and yeah sure, and I based my like location. I was in Löyly in Helsinki because I thought that will give a good like impression of Finland also. So there was some of my friends are like big movie stars here in Finland, and they were all there. Like there was Mikko Leppilampi and Jasper Pääkkönen and these guys, and we were sitting in the table. And then I went to give out the interviews, and there was like a Canadian broadcasting company there, and I can't even remember the companies, but there was like one doing the interview and then 2 crews waiting for their turn, and it was so weird because like these movie star guys, and they are the ones that are used to give the interviews and getting
and
their
I
attention.
gotta go, yeah.
And they were like, nobody gave a shit about them, and they were, what is this?
What was how did the idea, because that again had to be pretty quick acting in order to do it. So were you guys sitting here? Like, how does the meeting structure? You guys sit here? Is this kind of the main meeting spot?
Well, that actually went like really funny way. I was on like that year I went to Spain with my family to holiday, and my mom and dad also joined us, and all the girls, like my girls and my soon-to-be ex-wife and my mom, went shopping, and me and my dad stayed on the condo by the pool, and we were having a gin and tonics, and my dad was reading the news from his iPad, and the Trump and Putin are coming to Finland after all, and like maybe 15 minutes after that, like I don't know where I got the idea, but I sent it text to Janne, and like I managed to pick up a photo of like what I want to look like the label to be like, and I said that like let's make a special patch for this summit, like let's settle this like adult beer, and I don't know if I can find the text that I sent it, but Janne just replied that I love you.
So that's as much as the process for some of the things are.
Yeah, then we had like 2 weeks time. Like I think it was like maybe Friday, and then 2 weeks after that on Monday the summit was. So we had to came up with the label, do the beer. Well, actually we couldn't make a special beer. We had to use one of our like the lager that we are doing.
Okay.
But just label it differently, and then we decided to make 10,000 bottles of it, and then we started to like give out like tips to press and everything. And first it looked like that nobody's interested, and we were like, what the fuck? Like this is such a great idea, even though it's ours, that this should get some attention. And then Helsingin Sanomat was the first like the major newspaper that called, and they said that like, yeah, we are doing a small interview, like this sounds like a funny idea, but then they got excited, and it was almost like 1 page, and then it started to roll. This was maybe Wednesday before the meeting was on Monday.
Okay.
And then following day, it was Tuesday, and then following day somebody called me from RT.com, and I wasn't like, I didn't even check what it was, but the questions were so much like humoristic that I replied like totally wacky answers.
Okay.
Like, and it turned out it was the Russia Today, which is the biggest like media like outside Russia, that it's basically from Russia. Then it started to happen, like I got calls from like CNN, Good Morning America, like whenever the phone rang.
And so they printed all your wacky answers too?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was it started to be sort of a viral, like at that point we have to decide that, okay, so this is the sort of a language that we are talking about now. So we cannot be official or anything like that. We have to be wacky. And I remember like I think it was like you have these huge companies that just make news and then sell it to other like news like
the editorials or whatever.
So it was one of these, and they said that they were doing the radio and then the internet and TV and what other like interviews. Like they had all the different people doing those. And to the TV part, I remember that. Do you have any advice to the presidents, like when they come here? And I said to that, there's no such big problem that you couldn't fix by going to Finnish sauna, having a couple of beers and playing some rock paper scissors. So it went like totally nuts. But yeah, that was exciting times.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then I remember like all the Russian networks, like TV networks, they interviewed me from the biggest one to the smallest ones. And I remember, I think it was Monday evening, like one of the like basically Moscow area TV channels, their producer called me and we really need the interview. Like where are you? Or was it Sunday evening? I can't remember. But so I said that like, well, I'm here at the city, so we can do it like whenever you're ready. Like I'm free 8 o'clock or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we met, and the producer guy was like, "Thank God that you agreed. Like we are getting calls from Moscow all the time. Like who is this beer guy and why don't we have it? Like everybody else seemed to have it." And so on Monday evening, accidentally I met them again. Like we were having just drinks, and they were like giving hugs, and like it was almost like feeling like a rock star or Olympic medalist or whatever. And like their anchor, like which is, I think it was at that time one of the biggest celebrities in Russia. Like even then she had like 3 million followers on Instagram or whatever service, and she wanted to have the selfies with me, and I was like, whoa, this is getting interesting. People from Korea came and like gave me high fives and wanted to have selfies in the streets of Helsinki. Like I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. All from sitting in Spain,
Having a gin and tonic
gin and
by the pool.
Hey, Janne, this would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Jesus. It's a weird thing. Speaking of getting selfies, like I mentioned to you a little bit before we started, where now because of TikTok and sometimes I'll go out. It only happens when Finnish people are drunk that they'll come
absolutely.
up to you, you know. And I see you on TikTok, and can I take a selfie with you?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what the fuck? You know, like I can. So it's in a weird way. I really understand where you're like, with me, you know, like what the hell?
The whole TikTok thing has changed pretty much everything. I've been many times thinking that, like, even though 2018, like Facebook was big, and Instagram in Finland also started to be a big one, but imagining like what it would be with TikTok, back then, like, it would have been like crazy.
For sure. No, I mean that's now. I was when I don't know when TikTok came out, but I was originally like, man, I'm not. Fuck that. Like, you know, I'm not gonna do anything with that. And then downloaded it, still didn't get it. And then Gary Vaynerchuk, dude on the internet's always like, TikTok's the next thing. TikTok, if you're gonna have a business or a brand or a whatever, get on it because it's the next Instagram, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
And so this was like during lockdown times, and I was working on like a vlog that I did from Nepal when I was there for about a month, and then I was also doing the podcast stuff on my own. And this was like around the time that the George Floyd murder happened. And so as I've mentioned, like I'll talk about whatever, and so I sometimes like to get into a little bit conspiracy type stuff and just think, you know, and maybe not just stick to the script. And so I had one video, I'd messed around with a few of them, and I had one video where I said, like, it just seems fishy, like it seems like a setup, the way it all went down. And before that I had like 20 followers, 3 views, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I posted it, and I went down to the beach, and I didn't have a cell phone plan at the time, so I only got service on Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Go down to the beach, do my little workout yoga stuff. And at some point walking home, I walk by like a cafe, I get Wi-Fi in, and my phone's just bzz, 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 bzz. And I'm like, what the? You know, and I look, and like that video had blown up. And so it was like, I don't know, it got like 200, 300,000 views like that. And then I was on like, I don't use Snapchat anymore, but at that time, like there was some thing on Snapchat, like a daily news thing saying how TikTok is a breeding ground for conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
They showed a video. It's me. And I didn't even know about it. And just one of my homies from college sent, he's like, "Is this you?" I haven't talked to the dude in 7 years. I'm like, holy fuck, it was me. And so like, it's just crazy how all this stuff comes to be sometimes.
Yeah, it's so like being a 47-year-old dude, like trying to figure out like whether we should go to TikTok, and because it's also like it's most of the people used to be like young people, like really young people,
but
and,
now not so much
now
anymore,
it's
man.
changed.
Like, I mean, I was in line at the red truck, you know, the little kebab pizza thing right there in the city, and the lady in front of me, who I don't know, I would guess was in her 40s, turns around and goes, "Hi, I follow you on TikTok. I come into your lives a lot. Like, nice to meet you." I'm like, "Hi," you know, like,
nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. And so, no, I mean, are you guys on it at all? That's funny. This conversation took this turn. But,
yeah. Well, we have been talking about it, and like I really like the format in a way. Like we did one of these like really famous TikTok things, and at one point, not so really famous, but where you have the signs that you say that like I came up with the text that like people think that the people in brewery business are quite simple, and so Janne was there like dropping all the pages from the behind.
Okay, yeah.
Like that thing, and like I like the format and I like the humor that people are doing there. Sort of like all the dances too, but it's well, speaking of Fat Lizard, like they went there now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
yeah. I know. I'm a little like, I'm glad we got this thing. I'm gonna start plugging you guys even more on that, because once I got into this like world and got a little following, I'm like, oh, let me message this brand, see if there's something. And I like their stuff, and they left me on red, and you guys messaged me back. So I was like, man, well, I'm rolling with the Kuopio squad anyway, you know. And so I was like,
nice.
It's because I saw them on it. I was like, oh, okay, maybe they'll get with it. And they left me. I said, I'm RPS, baby.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So no, I mean, I think you guys could definitely do the best part about it, or the worst part, but is it all starts like geographically based.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's been really easy to grow in a way, because Finnish people like hearing the mindset of a foreigner.
Yeah.
And so if I start a video and in the first 2 seconds or 3 seconds say here in Finland, or in Finnish girls or Finnish guys, or something alluding to that, like, guarantee it's going to at least get like 20,000 views. Yeah. You know, it's like this weird formula that I'm mad I haven't tried it in like Czech Republic, like all the places I've lived, 'cause who knows where it could be now. I had, like, one video in Czech Republic that did really well, where I talk about Czech girls and say like the town I was living in, there weren't very many good looking ones, or they're all married, or they're all young. But then I went to Prague and realized, oh, they're all here.
I have a great idea for you. Now that you go to Portugal and you drive through Europe, you stop in every country and you do a conspiracy theory on that country's girls.
Yeah, true.
Or guys.
Yeah, everybody loves to hear about the individual, or the basic. Yeah, I have one about like the Finnish basic bitch outfit of like white Air Force Ones, like a flannel, like a light colored flannel, black jeans, and you know, and that's like, it's also weird too, what pieces of content people will relate to.
Yeah.
Because if a girl, mostly it's like 20-year-old guys that come up to me like, hey dude, I love your stuff. But if a girl comes up to me, she normally says like, and just so you know, I don't wear the Finnish basic bitch outfit.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's okay. It's okay.
Now that I remember, you need to show me how to do a TikTok video where you can add the music because I don't know because like you know the music where you do the so we could do
oh true
so based on that music but using just our hand signals.
Rock paper scissors stuff. No, I mean, dude, you guys, especially with it seems like, I mean, judging by some of these pictures and you and everybody involved, like there's some personality here.
Yeah, and like personalities that never grow up or has grown up.
And like that's all you need because I mean that's what comes out, you know. I mean it's kind of easy to in a way be a good looking girl with a nice butt on it because you just kind of position in the right way and normally I'll watch, you know, like let's be honest,
guilty
you know. And actually that was the one that like blew me up here was talking about how I maybe had like I don't know 5,000 followers on it or 6 and I said, you know, I'll be scrolling through and see a girl with a nice butt shaking her ass and I'll watch it, you know, just for research purposes. And then I see that she has less followers than me. And I go, I get a sense of pride because I think, damn, someone wants to listen to me talk more than watch her shake her ass.
Yeah, imagine if you would show your ass.
That's exactly what I said. Exactly. And so, like, there's definitely formulas to it.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think, I don't know. I mean, I'll be able to clip some of this shit up and we can make some stuff and
it's like I've been watching that like you have some editing to do because like I guess we have talked about 2 hours.
I was just gonna say if I told you an hour at first, but normally I let it go as long as I can. I don't know. What are we at here? We got 20 minutes if you got 20 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Cool. Yeah, because that's always how it goes. I meant to tell you 1 to 2 hours, but then I didn't know, you know, just one. And then you normally get a read on somebody like, all right, well, we either don't connect or, well, actually that shit has never really happened too much. On Zoom, I've had to do all the podcasts on Zoom lately, and that gets tiring after an hour and a half because you don't get this like energy to vibe off of.
Yeah, I think it's missing the energy.
And so I was like, well, like there's been a couple where it's just same kind of thing. I see, oh, we got 20 minutes on the battery. Like that's how long we're going to go, you know? And so let's see. I got a couple here questions.
All right.
That I keep as in case shit goes wrong and we don't just start talking, you know, like it's much better when it's just conversation. But now that we've had a nice conversation, let me start with like, okay, the first thing is you gave me the little sampler pack last time, and there was one that was a dry hop lager. And then there was an ultra lager, and then there was some other lager. Like, what is the fucking difference of all of them? You know, like.
Well, it's actually a huge difference. Like in every kind of different beer types, you can make like. It's not that like we are doing a wine where you need to have a certain kind of grape and. Needs to be on the north side of the hill and all that. So you can have like million type of variation of IPAs and lagers. But I have to say about lager, because it's the most used beer type in the world. It's mostly people don't see it like they don't value the lager. It's you are making lager,
right?
Like it.
I'd probably fall into that category a little bit. Maybe. Yeah.
But it's actually like the hardest beer to make, at least for the microbrewery, because the taste is so in a way light. Mm-hmm. So if you make any mistakes during the brew, all of the mistakes will come out, and most of the microbreweries, they won't touch lager because they know it's so hard, and it takes the most time also. Like our the Dandelion Dreams, which the Belgium wheat beer.
Yeah.
It comes like just over 2 weeks, but like Komono, our Mexican lager, it takes 6 weeks to finalize because.
And for what reason?
Well, just like you have the main fermentation, and then you have the after fermentation, and then you need to let it be like so it comes clear, and all the like the yeast and the hops will sort of go down, and you get a clear
it's like
liquid.
Curing when you're growing wheat. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like just saying that about lager, but it's the of course most popular type of beer, and also like there's plenty of what you can do. Now for the Oktoberfest, we actually just canned last Friday our Oktoberfest beer, which is Vienna lager.
Okay.
Another kind of lager.
Yeah.
But that's a masterpiece. Like it's so pure. There's no faults. It has a rich taste, and you can make a lager that stands out also. But of course, when you're playing with the IPAs or like doing the DDH whatever nuts things, so the only thing that you do, you just add hops. Like it's really easy to sort of add hops, but try to make a pure, clear, like let's say like our focus is also that if we decide to make a lager, we want to make then a good lager, or if we make a red ale, we want to make a clear red ale. So no like fooling around, like trying to hide with like adding something to sort of cover the flavor, the actual flavor of the beer style. So yeah, but we do have too many lagers. I can say that because it takes too much in the tanks.
I was just gonna. I mean, hearing now the explanation, that I know I had, I think 3. Although I really liked the Dandelion one.
Yeah,
that one was super nice.
It was the best wheat ale in Finland 2019. 2020 it came second, and this year we know it's on the top 3, but we don't know like whether it's winner or silver or bronze.
Okay. What's the like tasting process? You guys just that part has to be a little bit fun, right? Like in my mind, I imagine people at the table like a few cups and things getting a little fun.
Well, actually, like when we do the tastings, we have this weekly meeting on Monday mornings.
Okay.
And
so
starting,
you kind of want to come to work on Monday.
Yeah, so 9 o'clock we start here talking about the things, what's going to happen this week and what happened last week and so forth. But usually we do the tastings on that meeting because that's the only time that we all are together.
Aha.
So Monday morning, 9 o'clock, it doesn't get too crazy often.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, you just like wake up after the week and then you had like a couple of coffees and you're like, ugh. And then you need to drink beer.
Yeah.
So it's work.
Yeah, it's work.
But one of the like.
And then you know if you really like it too.
Yeah.
That Monday, you're not just like.
Yeah, you are not.
It's
like
not Friday after you know, and like where any beer tastes good.
But we did a beer for Kotipizza, like 87 lager, again lager. And when we did that, like we had people from Kotipizza here. We had like Lihamestari, which is one of their pizzas.
Okay.
And then we bought like, I don't know, we had like maybe 30, 40 different kind of beers, like beer types. Of course, all our own beers also. And then we just like ate pizza and had beers and tried to see like whether it's a good fit or bad fit, and that was fun. Like I think that was Thursday afternoon or Friday afternoon, so it wasn't Monday morning, and you had pizza and beer, so it was great.
Okay, sweet. Well, what's your favorite then? What are you?
Well, I'm a definitely an example of like a situation related drinker. So if I'm doing sports, let's say like on a hot summer day, like having a cold lager or wheat ale, or like this unfinished symphony that we did this summer, like it's a Berliner Weisse with the mango on it. So like something that, of course, like you can always have a long drink and of hard seltzer, which is good for me because I have a type 1 diabetes, so it doesn't have any sugar on it. But then if I'm having a food that like some of the beers fits to that food perfectly, but I don't drink like one beer all the time. I tend to sort of choose the beer or drink based on on the situation I'm on it at that point. So, but I really have to say that all our beers I like.
You have to
say
that.
But
no.
I have to say that. But luckily, I mean it also because like there's a lot of these breweries which are doing great job by creating all kind of like weird stuff and experimental, like they're trying all kind of combinations and like some of them are really good and some of them are not so good, but like our sort of guideline is that like we don't want to do like extremes. So whenever if we say it's stout, it needs to taste like stout, even though if we add something to it. But same with lager or IPA or whatever. So they are like a clear examples of that beer style that we are doing. So like we did this summer APA, American Pale Ale. No fancy stuff, just pure APA. And it's I like it, but of course the beer fans, they always look for like, so APA with what? Like what did you do extra? But
what's then the difference of, because I'm more of a, I would say just a pale ale guy.
Yeah.
But then, because I would say IPA, but then I also do like APAs and what is it that any New England IPAs and what then is the difference amongst the first letter of the PA?
There would be so many people better to answer this one, but well, of course, with the New England style, for example, so it's not that like you don't get so much bitterness on the taste. Like you get all the hop flavors, like the fruitiness and all that, but how you get it is like when you put the hops on when you're boiling the whole thing. So if you put the hops early on, you get more like the bitterness and all that. And if you put it like later stage of the boil, then you get the like more the aroma and all those things. And if you do the dry hop thing at the end, then you will get the most flavor, but it won't like stick forever because it's not added while cooking.
So if you have a dry hop, you need to kind of drink it quickly then after
they
production?
are best as a fresh.
Okay.
Like last spring I accidentally had I found one of our APAs back home and I was just like, oh, well, I'll have this one, and I started to drink and I was like, well, is this our IPA? And like it was totally fine and everything, but then I checked the date and it was 18 months old. So all the dry hop flavors were gone and you just had the basic like IPA thing there, but it wasn't like our IPA because the dry hop part was lost.
Gotcha. Okay, that's like I like to pretend I know stuff about, but that's like a good little like tidbit of like dry hop needs to be.
Yeah, whenever it's dry hop,
fresh.
It would be best. The more fresh you get it, the better it will be.
Okay.
So don't have a year-old New England style IPA.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I've never even realized that. I think what in the thing with you guys now I've had with the Lizard. And that's that's a New England, right? And then the Hazy.
Yeah, option B.
Yeah, I like that one. And then I think there was like a one with only 2.8% or something.
Smooth operator.
Yeah. I was like, this is nice, but fuck, I need a few of these. It depends what I'm doing.
I think that beer maybe even has the most fans, like of all the people that love our beers or like our beers, like the Smooth Operator has the most fans because of the low alcohol, but you cannot tell it's a low alcohol.
Yeah.
quite tasty one, and like that's
sure.
like a lot of my friends who are now like closing 50 and all that, so they need to be taking care of their lives and paying attention like what they eat and drink and all that crap. And they have pretty much all switched to smooth operator because you like to have a beer after sauna or after you go and have a sports and get something afterwards. So they don't want to get drunk, but they want to have the beer. So they really like it. And for the next spring, we are gonna introduce a new beer for that category, and I'm personally really excited about it. It's a steam lager. Once again, one more lager, but it's really good. You cannot tell that it's only 2. That's actually 2.6. But it's like really good taste. And
I was thinking is like now that I got the van and all, I was like, well, because I knew we said, we'll drink a little bit on this, and I'm like, shit. It's like, I guess I could have maybe one or two.
Yeah, we have
of
been
those,
talking too much and drinking too little.
I know. At one point, I was like, maybe we go get a beer, but at a certain point, we're just flowing so good that I mean, shit, we might have to do another one of these, man. Because this is pretty fun, or without a camera too. That's
we can do we taste all our beers and drinks.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah,
for sure. Because I mean, now too with the. I'm excited now. I've like slowly built this little audience from this that I'll have to start doing some van building and then the van life. And I like doing travel vlog kind of things. And I've had success, as I kind of said, with the Nepal stuff, that just kind of then relating them all together in something. And so like I'll get my girlfriend to drive it. And so then we could even, once I get a couple chairs in the van, it would be in the van doing, so like it could be something cool like that, and combine everything.
We have to do it fast because it's getting so cold.
True.
Yeah.
True, for sure. Let's
see.
I
hope you have a heater then.
Well, that's why I plan on going to Portugal. I was talking to my dad. He's like, yeah, a little heater would warm that thing right up. I said, yeah. I go, I'm not going to plan on getting it. I'm going to get it out of necessity. I'll bring some wool socks and a good sleeping bag to start, and then it'll be a night or two of like, shit, I need this while I go. I need this. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, bro. Man, I think.
All right, so part 2.
Part 2 is going to come up.
Drinking.
Yeah. That one might get fucking wild, That one will be. This was already
get
fun.
A bigger battery
for sure. Yeah, no, and it sucks. I have 2 batteries, but I didn't want to. It's always better that it goes this way. Yeah. And we run out of battery rather than me bring 2 batteries and then it be in like 40 minutes and like. So
right.
We'll leave them something to hang. Yeah. But appreciate you, man. This has been a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
I'm glad to make this connection.
Yes, and we definitely need to make the connection deeper by traditional Finnish style, getting wasted.
Exactly. Alrighty, brother.
You know the 5 stages of Finnish drunkenness.
Yeah. What is it? The last one is like sadness, right? Yeah. I see that one. It's like happiness.
It's like happiness and like it starts with like excitement and then happiness and
then
best
there's
friends
yelling
and then fighting and then
sulking and then crying. Yeah. I'm actually I'm a quarter Finnish. My grandma was born in Finland.
Nice.
And a quarter Irish. So
you have
I like to
good
drink.
genes for drinking.
Exactly. Alrighty, let's call it.
Yeah. Thank you.
What's that story? I've been thinking about you lately. Yeah, come on. Tell me, darling, what else? You're a star girl. How the fuck do you not know the deal? What else? I've been thinking about you lately. And what else? Got me going crazy. What else? Playing for you, baby. Listen up. Listen up, got me thinking about you, baby. And it's happening all the time. So I'm playing for you, darling. Listen up, listen up, listen up.